Hello Year 4, welcome to your English session for today. Today you are going to be working on enhancing your comprehension skills further. And to be successful in this lesson, you will be able to think about the terminology, the specific words that the author has used, and the impact that this has on the reader. You will be able to think about how the author has used imagery and also about the impact that this has on the reader. I have some retrieval questions for you here, so can you have a go at them? Question 2 is what this image relates to as well, so that will help you with question number 2. Can you write your answers down so you can send them to me as part of your home learning so I can have a look at your wonderful work? So pause the video here now please, have a go at the following 3 questions. Okay, so what is the difference between fiction texts and non-fiction texts? Do you remember from yesterday? Fiction books are made up stories and non-fiction books are based on fact. Well done if you remember that. Question number 2, what does this image tell you about what the word gorged means? Oh, well, gorge, you can see this man is eating greedily. That is exactly what gorged means. Well done. And finally, can you give a synonym for the word coaxing? So if you are coaxing someone, what are you doing? Well done, you are persuading them or getting round them. Now, we are going to be using this word in today's lesson, so it's really important that we understand it. The word is camouflage. It's a verb, it's a doing word, and because it's got that ed suffix at the end, it means it's a past tense verb. It has 3 syllables, camouflaged, and this word camouflage means to hide or disguise the presence of a person, animal, or object. So this is meant to say owl. The owl camouflaged amongst the bark of the tree. And you can see that here, that because the owl is a specific colour, the fur is a specific colour and pattern, that the owl actually camouflages amongst the bark of the tree because he disguises itself, it hides or it conceals. Okay, now, I want you to think about the book that we read yesterday. What can you remember about this book? What was the message behind the story? How did the author persuade you to want to look after the rainforest? And can you remember the animals in the story and the different reasons they gave for not chopping the trees down? Pause the video here and have a think, please. Okay, so you might have remembered that the main message behind this story is that actually the tree, the great kapok tree, has many purposes for many different animals. It provides oxygen for them, it provides shelter for them, it provides food, it provides a home for them. Now there were lots and lots of animals that were trying to persuade the man not to cut down the tree. Now, they were given their reasons and they gave multiple reasons. Now, can you remember some of the animals? That's right, there were lots of different animals. There were the macaw, the boa snake, the toucan, there were monkeys, there were butterflies, there was porcupines, there were frogs. Fantastic. And the main message behind the story, do you remember the main message? Absolutely, that humans need to preserve the rainforest. They mustn't cut down the trees because we are actually damaging the rainforest more by doing that, aren't we? Okay. Now, some more of the animals that we may have not considered is the boa constrictor, the bee, the monkeys, the porcupines, the toucan, macaw and a cock of the rock, the tree frog and the jaguar. So these are some of the animals from yesterday. There are a couple more that aren't on this slide, but this is just refreshing you the different animals that were talking to the man who was trying to cut down the tree and trying to persuade him really to not cut down the tree. Now today our focus is going to be all about comprehension. So in a moment I'm going to show you a short extract from the book. This isn't the whole of the book, this is just a short extract. We are going to go through 3 questions and then it will be your turn to answer some more comprehension questions about the book. And to really get the most out of this comprehension lesson, it's really important that you understand all of the animals. And all of the animals here on this slide are going to be the animals that are part of your comprehension lesson today. So on my slide, this is the comprehension text that we are going to be using. So it's directly from the book that we read yesterday, The Great Kapok Tree. And it's the exact same wording, the exact same animals, the exact same reasons. Now, In yesterday's lesson, I mentioned that we are going to be focusing on emotive language and emotive words for how we are going to write our persuasive piece of writing. And one of my questions that I'm going to ask you today, and one that you are going to have in your comprehension task later on, is this question here. So, the author uses many emotive words. Can you identify an emotive word and explain why it's a good choice of word? Now, can you remember what the point of an emotive word is? What is an emotive word? That's right, an emotive word makes you feel an emotion. It's in the word. Emotive looks quite similar to the word emotion. So if a word makes you feel an emotion, what type of emotion are the animals trying to make the man feel throughout this story? That's right, the animals are trying to make the man feel guilty. They are trying to make the man feel quite bad and terrible for what they are doing. So they're trying to use lots of emotive words. Now, we need to think, well, what words can be seen as emotive words? Would the word down be considered an emotive word? Do you read that word down and feel an emotion? No, not really. You might have an image in your head of something going downwards, but you don't really have an emotion. Whereas if you see this word here, miracles, how do you feel when you see the word miracle? What does a miracle mean to you? That's right, a miracle is a special, maybe extraordinary event. And it says here, this tree is a tree of miracles. That might make you feel maybe make the axeman feel quite guilty, knowing that the tree is that important. Reading on then, can you see any more emotive words there? Can you pause the video and have a think? Okay, I've spotted some emotive words here. I've spotted the words home. I thought that home is quite an emotive word because they are describing the tree as their home. Then the person who's reading that or hearing it might think, oh, actually, I feel quite terrible now that this is your home. I've also highlighted wither and die. Wither means when something is shrinking. Dying, you know what dying means, to not be there anymore. So the trees will not be there anymore. These two words, wither and die, might also be powerful and make the man think, oh, we cannot do this because this is what will happen to the trees. These really powerful words makes the axeman think. Similarly with the word ruins, the tree will turn into ruins. Homeless, that's a really powerful word too. Oxygen and destroy, these are all really powerful words that make the axeman and the reader think, well, actually, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And I'm going to choose one of those words. It only asks for one. So I'm going to choose the word homeless. So I've started my sentence by saying one emotive word the author has used is homeless. This is a good choice of word because. And now I'm thinking, well, why does the word homeless, why is that an emotive word? Why is that a good choice of word? Well, I think when I think of the word homeless, I'm thinking quite a negative word. It's something that is it's not a good thing for any of the animals in the story. So I could say that it makes the man feel guilty if he chooses to cut the trees down, as he would leave the animals with nowhere to live. And that's a really powerful word. It will make the man think, I can't leave you homeless. I can't do that to you. So maybe I'm going to leave the trees alone. So that's a really powerful word. The second question we're going to work through together, but I want you to have a bit more independence with this one. The second question is, the bee may be seen as quite worried when he spoke to the man. What did the bee say that makes it sound worried? Well, we know we're talking about the bee, so we can see here that this paragraph is all about the bee. It's all about what the bee is saying. Now, the bee is worried. What does he say that makes him sound worried? Can you pause the video, read the paragraph? What does the bee say that makes it sound worried? Pause the video here. Okay, so when I'm reading this, I see this sentence here. You see, all living things depend on one another. Now this sentence, all living things depend on one another, acts as if they are a family. And the whole point of this is that actually the bee flies from tree to tree collecting the pollen, and he pollinates the trees and flowers. Without the trees, they can't pollinate one another, we can't pollinate the trees and the flowers if there aren't any trees, and all of these living things depend on each other. So he might be quite worried that the man is going to chop the tree down because the living things will not be able to depend on each other anymore. And I'm going to start my sentence by saying what the bee said. So the bee said, you see, all living things depend on one another. And then I'm going to think, well, what does this mean then? What else is there? This makes the bee seem worried. Why? Why? Well, he flies from tree to tree and flower to flower, collecting pollen. And the bee knows that if the trees are cut down, consequently, it won't be able to pollinate them or the flowers. Okay, final one now. Give an explanation for one of the words in bold. So the words in bold are these types of words here. So miracles, generations, canopy, etc. Why did the author choose to put this word in bold? I want you to pause the video, have a go, see if you can answer this question by writing your answer down, okay? Off you go. Okay, so firstly we can highlight all of the words in bold, and I can choose one here. So I'm going to choose the word miracles, and I've started my sentence by saying the author may have put the word miracles in bold because. Now, what does this word miracles mean? Well, it means extraordinary, so she may have wanted to emphasize the word. The word miracle means an extraordinary event. The author may want to emphasize this word to show how important and how extraordinary the trees are. And this may mean that she wants to actually make this evident to the reader that actually this is how important the trees are, and I'm going to make sure of it. Okay, your independent task for today then, you are going to read this text. It's exactly the same from yesterday, but all of the answers will be in the text. They will help you, okay? So you've got to work your way through the questions. I have tried to include some of the trickier questions in our learning today to prepare you for them a little bit, okay? Really try hard to think about the emotive words and the words in bold. Camouflage is here. This is why we needed to know what the word camouflage meant because of question 6, okay? Because it asks you what animal is camouflaged and how do you know? So there's an animal that is camouflaged. What does camouflage mean? That's right, camouflage meaning when you're hidden from anything else, maybe because your skin has changed colour or you naturally have that colour, like the owl had camouflaged to the bark of the tree. And that is your task for today. Now, I have one plenary for you, a final question. Why do you think emotive language is an important feature of persuasive writing? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, did you have a think? Emotive language could be an important feature of persuasive writing. Well, it might make the reader think a type of way. It might be really important in getting them to think more deeply about a topic, like the animals did when they wanted the Axeman to think more deeply about what he was doing. That's why they use words such as homeless, die, maybe, withering, wiltering, maybe shrinking, oxygen, destroy. Okay, so you have your task. Really try hard to answer your comprehension questions to a good standard. Okay, I know you will, and I'm so excited to see them. Have a lovely rest of your day, Year 4. Bye.